Hey guys, Pedro here to tell you about the latest from Myrath, Wilderness of Mirrors, out March 27th on Ear Music. This album has 10 tracks, 46 minutes in length, and this is the band's 7th full-length studio album. They are a Tunisian progressive metal band. From a design standpoint, this album is absolutely flawless. What an experience from beginning to end, immersive, energetic, captivating, really keeping the listener connected with the record with each and every single song, offering so many different ebbs and flows, so much movement that this album has, that the whole record really feels like a cinematic experience, not just from a soundscape point of view, but actually the way the album is crafted, the way the songs are put together, it really feels like you're watching a live play. Even though this record is not really a concept album, it doesn't have a theme that drives all the way through, the experience of the record is very conceptual in terms of what it offers, and like I said, how immersive it becomes. Once you get into the sound of this record, you can expect a very rich, a very textured, a very layered album with so many different elements, so much to peel, so much to enjoy, so much to savor. It's a great sounding record all around. I have to say the production behind this album is phenomenal. The orchestral pieces that the record has merge so well with everything else, merging so well with the heavier side of the band, with the more metal side of the band, if you will, merging really well with the progressive side, allowing the songs to take so many different directions, and also merging really well with the more folk-inspired melodies that this record also has. The production is really important because you have to be able to bring all of these different sides of Myrath to the forefront, allowing them to surface almost freely throughout the entire record and within songs in a way that you're able to digest all of the different elements but not feel burdened by them. You want the experience to be easy. You want the experience of listening to this record to be immersive, to be entertaining. You want to feel welcome within that experience, and you don't want everything that goes into creating it to become a little bit too much for the listener to bear. And this record does it flawlessly. I don't think when you're listening to this album, you're really able to understand exactly how much sound, elements within the sound, texture within the sound, layers within the sound goes into creating an album like this. The album sounds massive, but doesn't feel massive. It feels absolutely flawless. It has this flawless experience sound to it, just that allows you to lose yourself in the record, allows you to lose yourself in the wilderness of sounds that exist throughout this album, and just let the record take you where the record wants to take you. It's a beautifully crafted record from a design standpoint, but perhaps even more important from an overall soundscape perspective. And it's an album that gives a lot of room for the guitars to be heavy, for the guitars to have heavier riffs, heavier parts, helping to create some volume, create some thickness, and really create a lot of texture from a guitar sound standpoint that makes the album never lose track of the metal side of the record and definitely the metal side of the band. And I think that's an important aspect, specifically when you look at the impact that the orchestral side has on this album, and even the impact that the folk melodies have on this album. It would have been very easy for the album to become increasingly cinematic, increasingly theatrical, and therefore perhaps feel more like a soundtrack than anything else, which would also make the album perhaps a little bit thinner, putting some emphasis and strength in the overall guitar sound. Doesn't eliminate that cinematic, that theatrical soundtrack experience from the album, but it definitely makes the record feel more robust and more connected to that overall metal side and even power metal side, which makes things feel more balanced out throughout. And then you have the drums that also help with the size of these tracks. I thought the percussions throughout the album were even better than the overall heaviness that you're going to get out of the guitars, the overall riffage and melodies that you're going to get out of the guitars. I thought the drums on this album were just perfect, size-wise, strength-wise, in terms of volume and substance, really making the songs feel even more powerful, even richer. And the way the drums sound meshes so well or weaves so well with the orchestral side of the record. You definitely feel like the album has almost a little bit of a life of its own. Really creating an orchestral experience, even when it comes to the way the drum sound impacts this album. Absolutely phenomenal. The vocals are consistent and with the high quality top to bottom. I would go as far as to say that the vocal performance on this record is mesmerizing. I mean, the vocals are just not there to be a pathway to what the lyrical content and the stories are. They're there to be an instrument to add to the cinematic nature of the record, to add to the overall theatrical experience that this album puts forward, to really magnify that ability to create a movie score without necessarily feeling like a movie score, making it a lot more richer than that. The vocal performance throughout this album just finds ways of captivating the attention of the listener, to mesmerize the listener. Just incredible tonality, incredibly well delivered, super warm, super rich, and in some cases even creating a little bit of sadness and how those vocals come across and how those vocals interact with the rest of the sound around it, making all of this record really feel like an absolute masterpiece. When you think that this band cannot do a better record, they come out with a new album that always tends to elevate the bar that they set for themselves with each and every single album. This is an incredibly complete record, top to bottom, a record that I would love to hear live from start all the way to finish. Like I said, it's not a concept album, but there are concepts within this record, specifically sonically. There are certain concepts within this record that allows each and every single song to feel unique, to feel different, but still so incredibly connected to one another that's impossible for you to see the full picture without every single piece of the puzzle that goes into making it. As far as favorite songs goes, I want to start off with Still the Dawn Will Come. This is a track that opens up with a little bit of a heavier guitar sound, but that folk-infused soundscape really rises to the top, allowing the track to really showcase all the different experiences, all the different layers that it has. In the beginning, it feels a little bit more vocally driven in the verses, but the verses do grow, they do develop, they do gain a little bit more size. The metal side of the band really comes through and starts to incorporate itself into that more vocally driven experience, and then the overall orchestral side of the sound on this track really brings it all together. The track and the chorus has a very powerful experience, both vocally and musically, but vocally is just amazing. This track really has a standout chorus from a vocal delivery standpoint, but at its core, this is definitely a heavier sounding song where the heavier guitar riffs play a much bigger role, and then the folk soundscapes do all the heavy lifting. Then you have a track like Edge of the Night. Now, the guitars really help with the size of this song, but it's the percussions that are going to sell you on this track. Very unique to this song. The sounds, the textures, the delivery, everything feels so unique, so characteristic to how this song is put together, to how this song is delivered, and that's where this track stands out. I like the orchestral side of the song as well. I think it develops really well, and it leads you, it creates a pathway to the chorus. The chorus is so open, so bright. For a song that's called Edge of the Night, this song is incredibly bright and open, specifically once you get into that chorus. I think that chorus really sets that sense of brightness. It's almost like a flower that blossoms and lets all the aroma out. That chorus does all of that for this specific track. It's a track that overall has definitely a theatrical essence to it. It has that style, not just in the sound, but in the way it was composed, in the way that it was written, in the way that it develops. Musically and vocally, you're going to see it on both ends of that spectrum. And I really enjoyed as well the choirs and the backing vocals that exist throughout the track, which also magnify that more theatrical essence that the song has. Last on the album, and the last of my top 3 favorite songs on this record, Through the Seasons. A really interesting song, a great closing song, a really full of essence, full of sound, full of experience style track. I think this is a track that, in my opinion, encapsulates the entire album in a single song. everything that you're going to hear throughout the entire record, every experience that you're going to have throughout the entire record comes together in terms of pieces and bits and little moments come together in this song. So this song is a little bit of a catch-all of what the entire album has to offer. I love the orchestral side of the track. I love the folk melodies that the song has. I love the bigger sound that the track has. I love how they infuse some heavier guitar moments into the song, and then it has a great chorus. The chorus drops a little bit in terms of the intensity that the track has in the verses, but that allows the chorus to be more melodic and also allows the chorus to feel like it has hints of sadness to it. Also something that you're not necessarily going to see a lot of it throughout the entire record. There are some cases that you're going to see some similar experiences coming out of the choruses, but in this one is way more emphasized, it's way more noticeable, which also allows the song not only to be a catch-all of everything that happened on the record, it allows the track itself to have something that's unique to it. This is it, Myrath with Wilderness of Mirrors, once again out March 27th on Ear Music. Let me know your thoughts on the band, hit me up in the comment section, and I'll see you all at the next one. Take care, guys.